up until around 2017, Bitcoin maximalism wasn't really a thing, even though Hal Finney was sort of onto it very early on, claiming that any attempt at trying to duplicate the success of Bitcoin would be a fool's errand. So Hal Finney was already on that, but like in before 2017, there was no real distinction between a crypto enthusiast and a Bitcoin maximalist, and the whole Austrian economics, sound money, store of value perspective wasn't really born yet. No, very few people were thinking about it in those terms. That sort of coincided with the block size wars, and that Bitcoin ought to be, we needed to be decentralized to ensure the 21 million, and that was the most important aspect. And the store of value thing, that was sort of born during the block size wars. So I have more. And if you ran a company back then and you accepted shitcoins, and you moved on to make your hardware wallet have a Bitcoin only firmware or something, like both Trezor and Bitbox, for instance, did. I don't know if Ledger ever did. I don't think they did. Cold Card was Bitcoin only from the get go. But most of these things had both firmwares, and just not removing the cryptos, because there's no effort into just having it there somewhere hidden on the website. So if someone wants that, then they can use it. I view that as less harmful than a company that promoted themselves as Bitcoin only, and then they cling on to another crypto and start shilling that, or like actively pushing that they promote shitcoins. This is, by the way, why we tolerate having Bitbox as a sponsor. Bitbox, the people working there are very nice, and they promote the Bitcoin only version first. They still have the support for cryptos, and some people have pointed out that it's kind of hypocritical to have them as a sponsor. I hope that I can change them from the inside, and at some point make them realize that they would be better off if they went Bitcoin only. Still, I appreciate that they want to support our show and so on and so forth. So there's that. I don't know why I'm in a defensive mode today. It's probably because of all this reaction to this tweet about Andreas Antonopoulos' affiliation with Ethereum that I did the other day. If you want to talk about that, we could. Otherwise, we can talk about other things.
I would love that. And just like one small note on Bitbox, I think so. Like I've also partnered up with them in the past, and did some things with them in the past. And every single person I met at Bitbox was for me a full blown Bitcoiner. So I've not met the full team obviously, but the 3-4 people that I've met, they're all Bitcoiners. And for me, it's also interesting to meet the people behind the scenes, because then you really like get to know what is the company really about, and what is the kind of philosophy like that drives the product and the service. But I agree, it's a different story. Just being like in crypto in general, especially if you're a company before 2017 born, and then just like seeing over time, oh, we should actually be Bitcoin only, and then still having that profit line from the cryptos, and you're like, okay, we're Bitcoin only, but like it makes a bunch of money still, and we can use that money to make that Bitcoin for him. Other way around is kind of weird.
Yeah, and it would be different if it was an exchange, or if it was a site tracking the prices of different things, or anything like that. I think a hardware wallet, it's just a signing device. They're not actively promoting any of this shit. It's just that if some idiot wants to give them money to store their fucking ETH or whatever it is, they can use that money to advance Bitcoin adoption. And I don't have a problem with that personally. I have a problem with actually legitimizing shitcoins and promoting them. My entire mission is in this, and has been from the very first article I wrote, to point out what makes Bitcoin different and why it's not comparable to any other crypto. And people are still confused about this, and a lot of the backlash I got from this tweet the other day shows that. So yeah.
Maybe we can bring the tweet up. I will bring it up, and you can explain like what while I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, it's from a while back. Here, it's the one that says friendly reminder how now that Andreas Antonopoulos has commented on the core versus nuts debate.
Interesting. And it's
You
for
see
me. I don't see it yet. How long ago is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, I got it.
So you can bring it up if you want to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I should put echo cancellation on maybe. Oh, maybe I don't need it. Oh, yeah, there it is. So a lot of people think that this is attacking Andreas in particular, and they're somewhat right. So like, here's my history with Andreas Antonopoulos. I am extremely grateful for all the work he did from like 2014 to 2017, when he basically the only guy who did whatever we're doing right now, Robin, like flying around the world and trying to orange pill it. Andreas was the guy, and he was very good at explaining Bitcoin. Absolutely fantastic educator. He was also my teacher in a course I took 2016 on digital currencies, an online course at the University of Nicosia, Cyprus. He was one of two teachers. And the thing that always bugged me, even when I was in that course, was this talk about other blockchains as if they had any relevance. I never bought that from the very get-go. If you read my first article, it's called First Mover Advantage. It's from 2017. It's about how owning the first Donald Duck comic book is probably better than owning the best Donald Duck comic book, because best is subjective and first is not. So maybe not an analogy I would do today. But here I'm just pointing out that anyone promoting Ethereum was either not understanding how money emerges on the free market, and that real money is a winner takes all game. B, not understanding decentralization and how a blockchain has to make trade-offs to achieve it. In other words, you know the blockchain trilemma, right? So you have decentralization, security, and scalability, and you need decentralization and security. You have to. The trade-off is you have to give away the scalability for the other two, which is why Bitcoin has to scale in layers. It could not scale on chain. It's 7 transactions per second maximum, or something like that. Also, this ties into the whole debate about pleb slop, and I am firmly of the opinion that dev slop is more dangerous than pleb slop, because so the point is, if you attended a Bitcoin conference in 2019 and you happened to buy Bitcoin Sovereignty Through Mathematics, my first book, and Mastering Ethereum at the same time, which came out in December 2018. So mine came out in, I believe, May of 2019. So within half a year of one another. Those two books, if you follow the advice in my book, which was very much acquire as many Bitcoins as you can, hodl them, never sell them, and sooner or later you'll be able to do whatever the fuck you want. And I did give that advice. Andreas, to his defense, he never told anyone to buy anything, not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, not anything else. However, by writing Mastering Ethereum after having written Mastering Bitcoin, he sort of brands the two as two similar things of equal value, which is super misleading, because Bitcoin is humanity's best attempt at world peace so far, and Ethereum is a shitcoin scam designed to steal your Bitcoins. So they're opposites in that sense. And this is why Andreas I usually don't attack people on X. I attack ideas. This is sort of in between. I know I'm attacking the guy, but I was so his fall from grace was so devastating, just because he had been the best educator in this space. And when he wrote this book and thereby put his name on something that was an obvious scam, then he was one of the heroes that had to be slain, that people had the most difficulty slaying, and some people still refuse to slay him. If you had bought Andreas' book, and if you thought Ethereum was the thing, say you bought both books, or one guy bought one book, guy bought the other book. The guy that bought my book and took the advice in that would have 10x'd his money by now, 7 years later, because Bitcoin was about a tenth of what it is right now. Anyone who bought Andreas's Mastering Ethereum book and basically took his advice of it's okay to fuck around and find out with this shit would have lost 90% of his money. He would have 10x the other way. So 100x. It was 100x better financial advice to buy my book. And I'm not saying this to pound my chest. I'm honestly trying to figure out here how come, and a lot of people have pointed out that Andreas is smarter, better looking, and more technically competent than me, which is 100% true. So how come this 80 IQ pleb slop idiot managed to write a book that was 100 times more valuable investing-wise than this tech guru? Think about that. Andreas has at least 119 IQ, and he's an expert in computer networks. But the thing is, he never understood this sound money aspect. Like, to me, the interesting thing was always that resistance to replicability couldn't be replicated. Either this works, either Bitcoin works, or none of this shit works. Because if you can copy it, then that you can copy the copy or copy. And you end up with just the same old fiat system as we're trying to get away from. Andreas, on the other hand, he promoted filing your taxes, KYCing your Bitcoin. He still sells Ethereum merch for fiat on his website. A lot of things point to him never being convinced himself about Bitcoin being this separating money and state big thing that it is. Like, the skin in the game just isn't there. And me, the 80 IQ pleb, either I was lucky or I was onto something that was bigger than just dev slop. And I'm not only talking about me and my book. Like, Saifedean was onto the same thing. A lot of other people were onto the same thing. A lot of people had this idea that if Bitcoin works, this can really be everything divided by 21 million. We can go to hyper Bitcoinization was not only a theoretical fun thought experiment. Me and many of my peers actually thought that this was achievable, that this was the resistance movement against the Death Star that is the central banking system of the world, like the galactic empire that is the central banking system, and the Fed that is the Death Star, whatever. So sure, Andreas can teach you way more than I can about how Bitcoin works on a technical level. He cannot teach you why you should Bitcoin and why you should avoid shitcoins. And I believe I can, to a certain extent at least. That's why I'm pleb slopping away still. And that's why I am adamant about spam on Bitcoin being spam and so on, and being very destructive, and calling a spade and a shitcoin a shitcoin. And a shitcoiner a shitcoiner. And I'm not going to stop doing that. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to try to not attack people, but attack ideas. I would love if Andreas came back to the community, apologized for what he did, or at least admitted that some of his decisions were unwise, like shilling Ethereum was a very unwise decision. If he came back, he might not need a Patreon anymore. He could get a Geyser fund, and walk the walk. So I would very much welcome that, but it would require him to have a bit of humility as he did so, because he lost a lot of people a lot of money by legitimizing this shit. And yeah, I'm not going to back down on that.
And this thing raises also a really important topic that is in general very important that I mentioned to you before we started recording that really annoys me when we have a debate and then someone just says like, oh, this other person but said so. And I'm like, okay, so you are outsourcing your own critical thinking just to quote someone else or say like, oh, but he said that, so I'm right because he's an authority and you're not. And so they are basically outsourcing their own brain to someone else, and they're just like looking at the authority, which always really annoys me.
Yes, and sure, I can buy that my expertise is not good enough to actually understand all the nuances of the spam debate, because so the not side had some arguments and the core side had some arguments. Basically, the conflict was about whether something can be done about spam or not, and whether something should be done about spam or not. The thing is, what the fight I'm trying to fight is just to ensure that Bitcoiners understand what spam is, that it's shitcoins, that it's scams, that you can't own them, that everyone who puts arbitrary data on the time chain does so to fool someone else and to lure gullible people off their like to lure them to give these spammers your sats. That's all their that's the purpose of every single arbitrary data string on Bitcoin ever. There's no other purpose. and it's not use cases. Bitcoin is money. It has to be money. Otherwise, it doesn't work. The Satoshi is sacred because it's the thing that the system pays itself in. It's the unit that pays the system, the people maintaining the system, the miners. That's what we users pay them in. We pay them in sats. The node runners pay miners in sats for finding blocks for us, or for finding block space for us. Now that they're not finding, if they're not finding block space for us, but finding block space for shitcoiners instead, we're going to stop paying them. It's as simple as that. And the nodes are going to run different software that is refusing to pay them for this stuff. And also, yes, you can have different ideas about whether this is a fool's errand, whether spam is really unstoppable or stoppable. but at least call a spade and tell it like it is. At least try to educate people that this is shit. And at least stop taking the people who are actively investing in this stuff seriously, because they should not be part of the debate. If you are if you own stock in a company that puts spam on Bitcoin, if you're on an advisory board, if you do anything with these people, then your opinion doesn't count anymore, because you're not a Bitcoiner, you're a scammer, or you're helping scammers maybe not destroy, but hurt Bitcoin in ways that you should be adamantly against. So yeah. There's a lot of pleb slop here, and maybe I'm upset for this tweet the other day, but I just wanted to defend my position and explain myself, as so many people seem to misunderstand this. Promoting scams hurt people. If you promote a scam, you're hurting other people. You're hurting the most gullible, thereby the most vulnerable people in society, because they're dumb enough to buy the thing. Sure, I'm a free market maximalism. I think people should take responsibility for their own actions. I think if you go to the casino and spend your life savings, that's your problem. It's no one else's problem. But at least I can help by saying, by warning people that this is stupid. Like, that's my job as an educator in this space, warning people about idiotic scams.
The first thing that every Bitcoiner does, and the most important activity that every Bitcoiner keeps on doing, is buying Bitcoin. And I personally use Relay to buy and sometimes also spend or sell my Bitcoin. And there are two main reasons why I do so. The first one is it's Bitcoin only. They do not do any shit coins. They do not do any cryptos, any stocks, or anything else. This is a tool, an app that is fully focused only and solely on Bitcoin. The second one is self-custody. They give you the keys to your Bitcoin the moment you buy them. You never give them the control over your Bitcoin, and you don't have to trust them because you can verify that you and only you have the keys to your Bitcoin. There's no third-party risk. There's no freezing of your assets. There's no rug pulling. There's nothing of that. Download Relay, the app, on your phone, or go to relay.app on your browser and use code Robin to save fees and get cheaper Bitcoin. I want to tell you about something very special to me. It's called micro-seed. If you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, and you should, you know how critical it is to secure your seed phrase. You should not have them on paper. You should not have them on anything else than titanium. With micro-seed, you can engrave your 12 or 24 word seed phrase, the entire seed phrase, onto a 1-inch small washer. Yes, just one washer. All 24 words on that one washer. You can hide that thing everywhere. And even better, you don't need to buy a new kit every time you have to get a new wallet. You can make unlimited backups because microseed is not selling the washer. Microseed is selling the device that stamps the washer. So you get the full kit with the device, with the washers, with the hammer, with everything you need to get started today, and you can make with that unlimited amount of backups. Go now to microseed.io.